BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
It's the toughest position on the pitch. Well, that's what I always say. Scoring goals often depends on the quality of the players around you, and that's what we're looking at today. The great strike partnerships of the Premier League era. Hello and welcome to Match of the Day Top 10. We've got a right pair up top today. Alan Shearer, he doesn't like to mention this, but Alan actually scored 260 top flight goals. And Micah Richards, who made his debut for Manchester City as an emergency centre forward, but spent the rest of his career trying to stop people scoring. I did manage to score once or twice myself, so between us we should have enough relevant experience to put these partnerships into some kind of order. Alan actually wanted to be on the list twice, but we said no. Pick your favourite partner only, and you went with Chris Sutton instead of...
Well, Les Ferdinand, Mike Newell, Craig Bellamy. I don't know. So, yeah, I mean,
so
Chris Sutton
you
was...
could have put yourself in the top five, the entirety of the top five.
I thought that was it, wasn't it? That is what this is about, isn't it?
It's all about me. It's all about me. If you don't agree, of course, with our choices, you can always have your say on Twitter using the hashtag MOTDTop10. Right. So what's the criteria? What makes a great striking partnership? I should probably ask you, Alan.
What makes it... Well, first and foremost, goals. Not both of them don't have to score goals. You have to be good at everything. They have to be... You've got to have a bit of touch, technique, pace. You've got to have a great understanding. I always felt that the best partnerships that I had, whether that was Chris Sutton or Mike Newell or Les Ferdinand, Teddy Sheringham with England, I never had to work at it. It just clicked. It just happened. It worked. I understood their game. They understood my game, and there was a rhythm to the game, an understanding of each other's game.
What did you want from a partner? What was the most important thing for you? For them to create chances for you?
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, but that was slightly different with me and Les at Newcastle. I mean, I think I'm correct in saying. Well, we only played one season together at Newcastle and we scored 49 goals between us in that season in the league, and he missed a couple of months with injury. I did also. But Les was a goal scorer, I was a goal scorer, and there were people, we were two big lads who loved balls coming into the box to attack balls. So there was people saying that partnership wasn't going to work, but it worked perfectly. He was quick, he was great in the air. Chris Sutton was slightly different. Mike Newell was slightly different, where he was quite content to drop into the 10 position or the midfield when we didn't have the ball, whereas I didn't want to do that and I couldn't do that because I didn't like running, basically. So I think that's what makes a good partnership, is the understanding of you and your partner, how you can link up play together.
Yeah, I similar things, albeit in different ways, with Alan Smith at Leicester, we had a really good partnership. Both scored quite a lot of goals. Graham Sharp at Everton.
Yep, very good.
Brilliant player. I think I scored 30, he got 20 something. League goals I'm talking about, which was special. And then my favourite partner though was Peter Beardsley. Even it wasn't a club partnership, but it was with England. And I think my record with England when he played was almost pretty much a goal a game. And people just say, what was it? I mean, he was very unselfish, Peter, and he was creative and he'd make chances, but do you know what the thing that I preferred about him most was that he didn't really like getting in the box much.
Yeah.
You know, you always hear that thing, and I hear it from all pundits, and they always go, get loads of bodies in the box. But as a striker, what you want in the box is space. And if you've got fewer of your teammates in the box, therefore there is more space. And that was one of the things I liked, because it gave me like the whole penalty box to go at, so you could make your choice, which is quite a selfish approach, which you do get from certain strikers. But what's the thing about playing against a strike partnership that you dislike the most?
I hate playing against pace.
But you were quick.
Yeah, I know, but when you're a defender, you've got to turn and run back. They're already... Skill as well. I think it was difficult for me sometimes, say, Sturridge and Suárez, because they both were technically very good.
I think they'll be in our top 10.
They come deep, and they both could run in behind as well. So, sometimes when you're playing against a partnership, one of them's normally big and strong, and the other one's quick. So you sort of
in the latter years, in the old days,
in the olden days. So you could I'll take this one because I'm decent in the air. But them two, Sturridge and Suárez, it was too difficult to play. You didn't know what to do. I tried to drop off, and then they'd just get the ball 5 yards in front, and then ping an outside pass, and then get into the box. I'm going in my line, so you always try and get the line. So if the cross is coming in, you sort of block off an area where it's going to go. And like you said about the space, they didn't run there. They just stayed at the edge and then just whipped it into
Would
the
a manager say to you, you pick him up, and the other centre-half pick him up, try not to switch over? How would it work like that, would it?
Yeah, it would always say, you stick... And sometimes when we, analysing games, you say, what's that centre-half doing all the way over there? The manager's told us, stick with him. Stick with him, because if he gets time on the ball, he's going to hurt you. And I used to be quite aggressive, so don't give him time. But then you're out of position and someone's gone into your position. I remember Ian Wright, actually, one time, I was playing for Villa, and it was on a corner. And because I'd been told to watch a certain player, I've run out instead of running straight. And Ian Wright dug me out on Match of the Day, he dug me out. And I messaged him saying, like, I've got so much respect for your writing, but you're wrong in this. And all the Arsenal fans were hammering me. And then, like, I text his son, Brad, because I was with his son, Bradley, and Sean, obviously, at City. I said, come on, your dad's digging me out. He doesn't need to dig me out. Like, and that was an example of me being told by a manager to stick with that player.
So you can't take criticism? Or?
Well, yeah, you could say that.
But now you're in this game.
Poacher
turned gamekeeper. So
I've got the power now, haven't I?
Do you get phone calls from players? Because you're actually quite close to the game. Do you get the odd phone call from a player that you've...
I get texts. I get texts saying, go easy on me today.
Yeah.
And
I suppose that's the thing about going into punditry, isn't it? We've all been there. I did punditry myself when I first finished playing. That first few years where a lot of the players you still know and then you're kind of mates with, and then there is occasions where you've got no choice but to be quite critical. It's a tricky transition.
Did it bother you though? If a pundit criticised you, did it bother you? Did it affect you? Did it?
I don't think it ever
inspire you to do better the next game, or what?
I can't remember.
It depends though, because you.
No, you don't like it, do you? You don't like it. But I think if it's balanced, and actually sometimes, and you've got to remember when I played, punditry was a kind of a new thing. It wasn't. It was he shouldn't be playing, or he should. And he went down the ring, crossed it, and he headed it in. It wasn't really until Alan Hansen came in that it started to become more analytical and a bit more critical about positional play, or explaining why people would do things. And so that didn't really go on. In my day, it was you get people having a pop at you just saying he shouldn't be in the team, and then obviously you didn't like that.
It's only ever bothered me once when a pundit, when I didn't play for England in the midweek and then I played again. I played for Newcastle, I think it was on the Saturday, and a pundit had a pop at me for not playing for England.
Can you name names or?
Newcastle at the weekend.
Was it me?
Yeah.
Was it?
You did.
He said, I'm glad you've forgotten it. What was it?
Not that it bothered me or anything.
I have no memory of that. So you played for Newcastle on...
I went away with England and I couldn't play because I had an injury.
And then you played at the weekend?
I played at the following weekend.
Why did you put your club before your country?
The one thing you could never accuse me of is not wanting to play.
Can I just say a belated apology?
Well, apology accepted.
Heartfelt apology.
No problem. Just thought I'd pull you up on that.
Oh dear.
Lovely, Alan, lovely.
On that note,
moving on swiftly.
I think we should move on to what we're actually here for. What's the criteria then? Lots of goals scored together, of course. Silverware won. That elusive element. Chemistry, whatever it is. This is the top 10 we've been given of striking partnerships, and believe you me, this is some tasty partnerships in there. We've got well, you've already mentioned them. Luis Suárez with Daniel Sturridge. Alan Shearer's in there with Chris Sutton we've chosen. We've only given you one. Andy Cole and Dwight Yorke, obviously. Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp at Arsenal. This is good. Sergio Aguero with David Silva. I'm sure he's quite a striker, but not far off. Wayne Rooney and Cristiano Ronaldo, two decent footballers. We've got Mo Salah and Sadio Mane. Heung-min Son with Harry Kane, of course, and an old school one, Kevin Phillips with Niall Quinn. And we finish with Ida Good-Johnson and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink. I think it's worth pointing out the tactical kind of nuances and changes in the game that nowadays we get a lot of triple strike partnerships. Like we've left out, for example, with Mo Salah and Sadio Mane, we've not put Roberto Firmino in there. And there's probably one or two like that elsewhere as well. Suárez and Sturridge, they also had Sterling with them, didn't they? He played as a front three in those days as well. So there has been a shift in the roles of. In fact, we saw Leicester, didn't we, at the not long ago in the cup tie against Manchester United. And it's quite unusual to see a double strike partnership. I actually played with Vardy. We don't see that so much now. Our partnerships are dying out of the game.
Yeah, I mean there's a
lot
lot
of some teams don't play with any strikers
Man
at
City
all now.
sometimes a lot of the time haven't played with a forward at all. I mean Barcelona did it years ago, didn't they?
Yeah.
Where it's described now as a false nine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean there's a lot of teams now with three.
Yeah, there's one for us. The best false nines.
False nines, yeah.
False nines.
In Premier League history, there's only three.
It's different though now because Man City don't play with a striker because the work rate of strikers before, when I was going, the strikers were only lazy.
What?
But the strikers were always lazy.
You can be as lazy as you want.
If you're scoring a goal.
Correct.
But that's the...
Hang on a minute.
Strikers were always lazy.
What do you mean lazy?
They didn't do anything. They didn't do... Like, we remember when Robinho came and he was... What a talent. He was fantastic. But he was the laziest player...
Yeah, that's one.
Ever. Yeah, who else?
Strikers get that because what happens is, I mean, I don't know about you, Alan, but, you know, when you're a goal scorer and stuff, and you get that thrown at you. Because what it is, as a striker, you will make, like, run after run after run after run, and you attack space, and the crosses go behind you, they go behind the goal, they go to the keeper, the front balls will be hit too hard, they'll go wide. You're getting nuts. So you keep making runs and runs and runs, and you keep attacking space on the chance that eventually a ball goes in that space. And then in the 89th minute, the ball goes there, and there you are on the end of it. You've got a tap in, you knock it in the back of the net, and then they go, the people that don't see the 150 runs you've made in the game, they go, there you see, did nothing all game, but at the end he was in the right place at the right time. And the assumption is that strikers are lazy. And
yeah, but
I beg to differ.
If you score, you guys' numbers are
It's a numbers
justified.
game. Yeah.
Are justified, aren't you?
But you can't get the numbers by being lazy.
Yeah. Unless you've got someone like David Silva playing them terrific balls.
But still, you still need to... It help. No, you just score more goals with players like that. Alan?
I hated running.
Well, none of us liked
I hated, particularly in training. I mean, I remember when I signed for Newcastle, we went. Kevin took us on a bit of a forest run, the rest of the team, and I must have been a mile behind.
Yeah,
and we finished it.
I couldn't run cross country long distance.
And we finished it, and Kevin pulled me to one side, and he said, "Is there any chance you can?" I said, "I can't. That is me. I cannot get up." I said, I can do 10, 20, 30-yard sprints and have a rest and what have you. But I just hated the long distance running.
Too. I couldn't
was
do
awful
it.
at it.
We're sprinters. Well, actually.
Yeah.
What were you?
Well, I wasn't slow.
No, you weren't.
I wasn't lightningly quick. I mean, I slowed down a lot towards the end of my career.
About a 400 metre, would you? 200, 400?
30 yards.
That's enough. That's all you need.
Max.
we should probably get to it. Right. Alan. It's 10-6.
Right. I've gone in 10th. I've gone Hasselbaink and Good-Johnson.
Yeah. 9.
In 9, I've gone Phillips and Quinn.
Yep.
Big man, little man. In 8, I've gone Suárez and Sturridge.
Ooh, yeah.
In 7, I've gone myself and Chris Sutton.
Yeah, that should have been 10 really, but come on.
And in 6, I've gone Salah Mane.
Mane, only 6.
Yeah.
Okay, right. We'll start with Ida Johnson and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. And, 2 very good players. Jimmy Floyd.
Jimmy was so strong and holding people off him, and the shot he had on him with his big, huge thighs, didn't he?
A bit of competition for you there, actually, Mark.
Yeah, I think I've got that though.
I think you've probably got it off anyone I've ever seen. Look at them, man.
Look at these bad boys.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and it was a partnership that they understood each other. Quick, clever. Gudjonsson could go short and link up play with the midfield.
Those had great careers as well.
Yeah, unbelievable careers. Yeah, long careers. And they had a good understanding of each other as well. So I've gone for it in 10th.
Gudjonsson was one of my tenants as well in Manchester.
Really? How much property have you
when
got?
He was at...
Did he just say tenants?
tenant, yeah.
Who was the other one? Was it David?
Melier.
Yeah, that's right.
There was David Silva,
David
Danilo.
Silva.
Yeah.
All in the same
All in the
house?
same house or different
I think a
houses?
few different ones.
Well, it's good
yeah.
to see that a footballer is investing his money wisely.
Yeah. But it was a nice guy. Alan's talked about as him as a player. He was just cultured, wasn't he? He was a cultured player. I'd like to see him score a little bit more goals for the ability he's had. I have to agree with Alan. That'd be my 10 as well. I know we'll go through mine as well, but yeah.
Well, you might as well do it now, as you said. Just do 10 to 6, folks.
Yeah, I had Hasselbank, I had Gudjonsson, 10. Same, Kevin Phillips, Quinn, 9.
Yeah.
I've gone Kane and Son, 8.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. Then I've gone Suárez and Sturridge, 7.
Yeah.
And then Alan and Chris Sutton, 6.
Okay. Phillips and Quinn, that's your kind of archetypal big man.
And that's the way they played at Sunderland, didn't they? Is that they get the ball up to Big Quinny, and Phillips was picking up the scraps in and around him, bring him into play, whether it was a flick on or his touch. I mean, Quinny was a good player, probably underrated in terms of his touch, etc. But Phillips, the understanding that he had with him, and he had the knack of being able to put it in the back of the net, and the understanding of those two. Again, it was...
You've put them down at 9 because it's Sunderland, isn't it? It's obvious.
Well, I should have put them at 10, really. Thought I'd be kind to them.
Yeah, very kind.
But again, people knew what was going to happen, but they couldn't stop it.
Yeah. No, that's very true. Suárez and Sturridge in 8. I mean, Suárez is right up there with the very best strikers that played in the Premier League, wasn't he? I mean, magnificent centre forward.
Oh,
a street fighter as well.
Yeah, he had a bit of nastiness about him as well, which I don't think's a bad thing in a forward. But what a player! Oh, I mean, the technique, the ability to run in behind, the understanding of the game.
He'd get it wide and he'd turn and just kind of run through players, try and knock it through. And sometimes he'd come off ricochet or anything, wouldn't he? Must have been hard to defend against.
It was a nightmare, to be honest, because he was just... He couldn't defend against him in terms of, the only way you could defend against him is in the air. That's the only way that we feel comfortable. If the ball comes in the air, you can head it away. But anything on the ground, and I could turn for a big man. I was quite agile, but he's just, like you said, he'd take one touch one way. You think you've got him, a quick touch, little bobble, gone. But then his finishing was really good. A lot of people talk about him, his skills and whatnot, but his finishing was superb as well. He could run in behind. He could go out on the wings as well. I think he'd be one of my hardest opponents I've ever faced.
I've got to ask you, because we know he's had his moments. He's prone to bite on occasion and various things. Did you ever experience anything against him like that? A bit of that nastiness?
Not really, No, I think he was him and Cavani up front. That we talk about partnerships. They had a really good partnership. You see Cavani now. He's still he's getting to his last legs, but he still makes them intelligent runs. And we got a clean sheet. But together, they was a really good partnership.
Seems odd, doesn't it, when you mention that? It's like when we played in the Olympics.
I
It
know,
still
yeah.
seems odd, doesn't it, as a football?
Never mentioned that before in the Olympics, have you?
They had a good time
That's
in the
what
village. A little bit surprised here, Micah, that you've got Son and Kane down at 8. I mean, they've been a fantastic partnership in the modern game as well.
The combinations are brilliant together, but they've not won anything. And I know it's not their fault, but
Point.
And this is why I've got my list that from 5 downwards, or from 6 downwards, from 7 to 10. It's trophies, isn't it?
Wow.
It's trophies. I mean, and it's not fair to say, well, if you've not won a trophy, you've not been a good player. But I think the real elite players win a trophy. I know you won your Premier.
You're just backtracking a bit
No,
there. Did you
don't.
see that? The real elite players.
I'm going to say that, right, so Harry Kane's not an elite player.
But he's not finished his career yet. So he's got time.
Okay.
He's
Just
got
digging
time. He's
yourself
got
out
time.
there.
No. This is up to now. He's got time. He's real elite.
Yeah.
And do I think Harry Kane will win something before he retires? Of course he will. So we're
Tottenham.
talking about now, the here
final
and
of the
now.
Carabao Cup, the big one.
Yeah.
Against, I can't remember who
So
they played.
that's why you've got to win something, haven't you? If you
It's a contributory factor.
Yes. Would you have went to Man United if you didn't win anything with Blackburn?
It's a good question.
Yeah. It was certainly a part of it because we'd won the Premier League. Yeah, you're right. At Blackburn, so that sort of took it out of the equation. But
Exactly.
it was always I always wanted to go to Newcastle, so I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Probably I'd have done the same thing, but I don't know.
But yeah, I think you.
But I know what you're saying in terms of with Harry Kane. I mean, there's only him can answer that because he knows how much he loves Spurs. He knows
the
how
dream
much
for him
Spurs
would
love
be to
him.
win stuff for Spurs, wouldn't it? That's
Yeah.
what ultimately he wants to do, and I'm sure that's what you wanted to do with Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as if I were going to Newcastle and they were a struggling side. They'd just blown that 12-point lead the season before that I'd gone there. So it was a side that was challenging. Just couldn't get over the line. We finished second again. But yeah, Harry's got that to think about.
He'll know now, and I never like to speculate because it's not fair to. But he's got a decision to make now. He's done everything he possibly can in terms of performances for Spurs now, and he sees other strikers around him winning, and playing at the highest level. You're mentioning names now: Mbappe, Haaland, and then it's Kane. Lewandowski is getting towards his end, but he's obviously the top of his game. But he's coming to, and he's going to get to an age soon where he's going to wish.
28?
Coming up 28 in the summer, isn't he?
Yeah.
Exactly, and this might be his prime now. If he goes over 30,
But
I think
the situation might affect what he does as well, isn't it? In terms of the teams not having as much finance behind them now as they perhaps would have 2 years ago.
Well, that's the point as well. And if you're going to have to spend a lot of money, if you're going to go for an out-and-out centre forward now, do you go with someone like Kane who's be tried and trusted in many ways? You know what you're going to get, or do you take a chance with one of the superstars coming up? If you've got that sort of budget, I guess.
I'd go tried and trusted. I think Haaland's brilliant, but I think Kane in the Premier League, you know what he's going to do. He's going to get you. Imagine him in Man City or Man United.
But you're not going to get any money back because by the time he's done.
But it might be a difference in getting the Champions League. I think we always think about getting the money back, but Champions League, Premier League, it's the trophies that you want.
Yeah. Indeed. Right, we come to you, Al, because you've both got them in a kind of similar place, 6 and 7s. Was Chris Sutton your favourite striking partner?
Not necessarily my favourite. I mean, we worked so well together. We had
won a league title together.
We won a league title together. We had a great understanding. And the way both him and myself played was ideally suited to the way the team played because we had two incredible wingers in Wilcox and Ripley, left and right, who were just designed to get up and down and get balls into the box. And that's what me and Sutty wanted. And he was quite happy. Kenny wanted him to go and drop into the midfield when we didn't have the ball to make us a little bit tighter, and he enjoyed doing that and didn't mind doing that. It meant that he did a little bit of extra running, and he was quite content for me to stay up and occupy the centre half. So from that point of view, the partnership was perfect. We didn't. I mean, you don't have to socialise. You don't have to be his best mate.
Were you friends?
Yeah, we were friends. I mean, we just didn't socialise together. We never. There was
you
never.
You don't really that often with many of you teammates.
He's a bit odd though, Sutton, isn't he?
He's different.
In what way is he different?
He's an oddball, Sutton.
In what way?
He won't mind me saying that as well. Yeah, he's
quirky.
Yeah, he's got a horse, hasn't he? He calls himself the horse whisperer. And he's just...
Does he?
Yeah, he does. He's got his horse doing a roly-poly. He's like, I'll get you the video. Hilarious. And he's just...
And he says it's the best strike partner he's ever had.
Not bad, that.
Yeah, you don't have to be best mates. I mean, you just have to be. You can be best mates on a football pitch and have the understanding together.
Can you really dislike each other and be a good partnership? There's the obvious one, isn't it, that they all talk about is Andy Cole and Teddy Sheringham.
Yeah.
That apparently didn't speak and stuff. But I mean,
well, you know, when you look at Salah and Mane. I mean, I look at those two and think he doesn't want him to score. He doesn't want.
Do you actually believe that though? Really?
I don't know. I mean,
I believe Salah way round. I don't know about Mane. I believe Salah. Yeah.
But now they're starting to say that Mane's getting touched in the box and he's not going down because Salah might get the penalties. I mean,
I wish he would for fantasy.
I'm not sure about it. I'm not having that. I mean, that seems. I can't.
They're both scoring goals anyway, which is the most important thing. But.
Yeah. Did you ever really dislike anyone you played up front with?
Come on, you must give us something juicy. You must have disliked some of you. I used to hate some of the players I played with.
Did you?
Jesus.
What? Yeah. Alongside you?
Not along, just in the dressing room. I mean, cause it's different for strikers, isn't it? Because you want to score the goals. So if someone's taking away your goals, you can't like your striking partner. Okay.
No, I mean, no, not.
No one took his goals away.
I know, yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Oh, good stuff.
I think towards the end of my career, it was very different because I wouldn't say I couldn't run, but I'd lost a yard or two of pace. So Craig Bellamy was brilliant for me in terms of his pace. I mean, he was a bit of a nuisance. And defenders hated playing against him because he was mouthy, he was loud. He was rude at times, but in terms of what he did for the team and for me, he helped me get another year or two out of my career.
He's actually one of the most underrated players I've ever played with, Bellamy.
Yeah.
He came to Man City and he works so hard. I remember, you're doing your pre-activation before you're going out, and I wasn't doing something properly, and he just come and shouted in my face, "Make sure you That's why you're letting your standards slip." And I was just thinking, wow, that is the difference. Because, when I was at City, when I was there, I was the highest paid at one point. I was supposed to be leaving. And your standards, you don't subconsciously the drop because you've not got other players at that level. And then when other players started to come, then you see the way they're doing things. You actually, no, get back on it. Yeah. And he was very good for that.
How did you know that you were the highest paid?
Because I knew.
Plus he got all this property that he was renting out to all the other players.
You know why I knew? Because I went from the highest paid to the lowest paid within a year.
Oh yeah, when the new incumbents came in.
When the new money came in.
Brilliant. Right, we've not discussed Mo Salah and Sadio Mane. Well, we have sort of, but not really. They've been magical for our game, haven't they? What they've given. And that kind of modern role of not being wingers but not being out and out strikers, sort of that in between on the one side and the other. They're brilliant at it.
Yeah, they've been deadly, haven't they? I mean, I think Firmino has certainly helped them in that sense, because he's been the link up to the both of them to have a sort of a free role.
And it's hard not to include him. Perhaps we should have made partnerships and sometimes included the third party, which is Firmino's.
But their goal scoring record is ridiculous.
It's not just that. It's their ability as well, isn't it? The way they run at players, the way they cut inside, and
almost impossible to mark. when they're on their game. Incredible.
Mane's is a better story for me because when he was at Southampton, I didn't think he'd become this good. I didn't see it.
Yeah, he
to be
looked
honest.
good, but not that.
But Salah was always good when he was at Basel, was it? And then
Yeah, but even his numbers, he started to improve I think his season at Roma.
yeah,
His numbers before that, his goal scoring numbers were nothing like as prolific. And it's funny. I interviewed him and I said, "Where did this change come from?" He said, "Well, I suddenly got this thing where I got a goal put in my garden." And he said, "I just started every day. I was like finishing." And he said, he just got more confident and got better.
yeah, he was. I could see that when he was at Fiorentina. He was playing. Depends what formation he was playing, but sometimes he was playing the wide, and sometimes he played down the middle.
Yeah.
And he just took that responsibility for, being the main man. We had Mario Gomez, who was a link-up, very good footballer, but Salah was he started becoming more deadly in front of goal.
What you see, I think with Salah and Mane, I think particular Salah, is that thing I know that you will have, and I know I had, is that insatiable hunger or thirst, whatever you want to call it, for scoring goals. And if you score one, you want another one. And I mean, I don't know about you, I'd walk off games if I'd got a couple sometimes and be gutted because I didn't get a third and stuff. And you can see that in Salah, can't you?
Oh yeah, you can. I mean, there's a desperation and a need and a want. All of those words to put the ball in the back of the net because I mean the feeling's unbelievable, isn't it?
And you judge by your numbers ultimately as a centre forward.
It's your job. That's why they cost forwards cost the most money.
Yeah.
Probably get the most money in salary.
And Kane will be the same. Someone like
no, Kane's exactly.
He's just absolutely Ronaldo. Another one. He would absolute drive to score, not just score goals for your team, but score more than anyone else in your league and score.
But and also you mention the penalties because it makes a difference to the numbers, doesn't it?
Tell me about it.
I mean, I always was
the only club
desperate.
I was ever a penalty taker was at Tottenham.
Really?
I was 29.
You may know about it. We talked about penalties. When I went for talks with Sir Alex, we'd discuss formations,
can I get on
roles and
penalties?
whatever. And I said, "Can I? Would it? If I do sign, would I be able to get on the penalties?" And he said, "Well, Eric's on them." I said, "I know Eric's on them, but would I be able to?" And he said, "Eric Cantona." So in other words, you've got no chance.
So that's why you went to Newcastle.
It's all coming out.
Finally, we've got the true story. Couldn't get on penalties. Yeah, right. Top fives. Al.
Top five, I've gone in fifth. I've gone Kane and Son. 4, I've gone Aguero, David Silva. 3, Henry Bergkamp. 2, I've gone Rooney, Ronaldo.
Oh, wow.
And 1, I've gone Andy Cole and Dwight Yorke.
Yeah. Micah.
Number 5, I've gone Salah and Mane.
Yep.
Number 4, Aguero and Silva.
Yep.
Ronaldo, Rooney, number 3.
Yep.
Henry Bergkamp, number 2.
Same again. I don't get a say. So annoying. I don't know who it would be, actually. I just don't know who I'd go. It's so difficult, isn't it? I mean, they're top.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I've got to talk to you about Aguero and Silva. You know them so well. Silva's, you probably wouldn't describe him as he's kind of a bit of everything, wasn't he?
Yeah, we cheated just to get the City players in, to be honest.
So Aguero has to be in there, whoever he plays with, because obviously with the way that City have played, they've not played with up top two, and these.
You know, I've explained Aguero so many times. It's hard to explain why he's so good, because in training he was awful.
He was awful.
And when I say he's awful,
What, just didn't try, or he just wasn't very good?
He couldn't control the ball. Like his touch was, and Tevez was the opposite. Tevez was, wow,
I've heard that,
amazing. And then, like little shooting drills and that. There's no urgency.
He was lazy in training.
No, it would depend. 5-a-sides, he was the best. He couldn't get nowhere near him.
Okay.
Like
Tevez.
running and all that sort of stuff.
yeah.
Running and all that stuff.
That striker's thing.
And then Aguero, and then he come on his debut. Shock! I got the assist for his first goal. He come on, and I think he scored 2 in his debut.
Yeah.
One, I think, 30-yard strike, and one a tap-in. And I'd never seen a player able to switch it on like that. Comes in the game, touches perfect. Yeah. He can link up, he can score goals. And I think he was just a complete striker.
Yeah. What's he like as a bloke? That's what people
One of the nicest
really
people
sweet, yeah?
ever. I mean...
He's never really conquered English, has he?
He knows English.
He does.
But I shouldn't say that because he don't want to do interviews.
Is that what he did? Can he, eh?
That's what
gets him out of all
he doesn't want to do
interviews.
interviews, but he's just a humble person. You know, like we see someone like you see Ronaldo, Messi, obviously they're gods. And you see Aguero is like one of the best ever Premier League strikers. But he's just so humble, so it's weird to have that.
Have you seen his son play yet? Is he any good?
No, I've not seen his son.
He's got good.
Yeah,
genes,
well, yeah. Maradona and
Aguero.
He's got to be top, hasn't he? He's got to be ridiculous.
No pressure there, lad.
And yeah, it's weird because I wish I had more stories about him, but he's just a nice, normal person
and
who
David
loves
Silva?
Football. David Silva, he loves a bevy.
Does he?
Wow. He loves a bevy.
Brilliant.
And he won't mind me saying.
Brilliant. What's
pre-season?
What?
Just any beer.
Really?
Pre-season we went to...
Not very Spanish.
I know, yeah, weird. Yeah. Los Angeles, pre-season.
He'll have just gone up in a lot of people's estimation.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He had a little pot belly. No one needs... He had a little pot belly as well. Hated running. And this is why people saying, you've got to be this. And I'm like, hold on a minute. He didn't do none of this. And I'm like, he's just totally gifted. And like, it was on pre-season, so we was in LA, weren't we? Pre-season, you know. Mancini said you can go out, and you never know. What's the point putting a curfew on it? 12 o'clock curfew. Clubs are just starting at 12 o'clock.
Good idea before you go out, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
Everything shuts in LA at
12. So
2.
2 o'clock.
Big after house parties after that.
So
apparently, so I'm told.
We're in the. So you're told. We go down. We got security, haven't we? Security in the front. But outside, we're on about I think the 3rd floor, and there was a ladder down. So who should I mention? Well, I can mention Jolien was there. De Jong was there. I'll mention the retired players. I was there. David Silva was there. He's finished now anyway. And there was a couple more. We're sneaking out at about 12. But the thing is, though, we've got our tracksuit on just in case. And, saying, we just come back, went for a walk or whatnot. And we're going down. We had like 4 taxis ready to take us out. We didn't get back until 6 o'clock in the morning. And David Silva is the last man standing.
Really?
Next day in training, first in running, first in possession. And I was just like, what the is this?
It's just not fair, is it?
It's just not fair. I'm at the back. I'm, scrambling for my pace in the team. And it's just...
David Silva, the living legend.
So he won't mind me saying that. Oh. He's a living legend. But yeah, Aguero, it was chalk and cheese. He was just nice. Yeah. But David's a proper bloke.
See, now, people, I think, would have guessed the other way around.
Exactly,
If you didn't know. I don't know why.
Yeah.
David Silva, who would have thought?
It's just, honestly...
What a hero.
Brilliant.
Right, you've got a difference in 3rd place. One of you got... basically, your 2nd and 3rd are the same, but in a different order. But let's discuss Wayne Rooney and Cristiano Ronaldo, 2 of the greatest players in Premier League history, no question about that.
Where do we start with them? I mean, where do we start with Rooney and Ronaldo? And wow, I mean...
Yeah. Ronaldo was a different player when he was in England, obviously, because he was predominantly a wide player, wasn't he? He's kind of shifted towards the last season or 2 when he started becoming exceptionally prolific. Yeah. Which was the player that we saw in his latter career. But Wayne Rooney, he had a bit of everything about his forward game, didn't he? Yeah,
I mean, he could play if you want to play. If you wanted to bully him, you couldn't. He could have a scrap with you.
Yeah. He'd also probably go out with you in LA until about 6 in the morning.
He'd get caught, though.
He could do whatever you wanted. Goal scoring, leader in his own. Yeah, he was magnificent.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. I mean, and the drive.
Ronaldo probably did. You?
Ronaldo twisted me up left, right, and centre. You just couldn't get it. When he was at Man United, he was just like you said. He was a winger, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he was a bit of a showboat, but it's just.
He used to do like 47 step overs.
He was just so gifted, wasn't he?
Oh.
I mean, in terms of battles, I've always say Bale's my hardest opponent because he was just relentless up and down. He kept coming and coming and coming. But Ronaldo, you didn't know what he was going to do. Yeah. And
you know, we talk about numbers.
Ronaldo.
I mean, him and Messi have just taken it to a new level, haven't they?
Silly. Silly numbers.
We always used
Goal
to.
a game,
I always used to think, and certainly when I started out, you get 1 and 2 that you're a decent player.
And
these guys
to
have
be
just
fair,
gone.
when you started out, and that was my time as well, it was. I mean, I'm not just saying this because it was tougher back then, because there'd been so many law changes. You could just kick lumps out of people back then. Level was offside, although it's now shifted a little bit back that way with VAR. Lots of rule change, the back pass rule, stuff which actually came in my time, not yours. Lots of things that have changed to help strikers. But having said that, these numbers are still miles ahead of anyone else, isn't it? The Ronaldo and Messi have done.
Yeah, they've taken it to something new. I mean, you look at guys around before you, Jimmy Greaves, his numbers were ridiculous, weren't they, in terms of goals. But, I mean, Ronaldo, the drive and the determination and the everything else to stay there has been phenomenal for such a long time. It's been unbelievable. As are
Henry and Bergkamp. I mean, wow.
I mean,
Babavou.
Yeah.
Babavou, indeed.
Thierry was just so elegant, wasn't he, in terms of his the way he ran with the ball, his technique, everything.
What a beautiful footballer. What a finisher as well.
He's just delightful to watch, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I remember one game I was in the academy at Man City. I was just behind the ball. I was in the crowd, and the ball came over. He touched it with his right foot and then shot with his left. I think the game was 5-1. And I've never seen that live before. And I was just like... And I was an Arsenal fan anyway, growing up. So to see that live, I just
want to know why you were an Arsenal fan growing up.
Vieira.
Because of Vieira,
Because of Vieira.
It's funny how one thing will...
Not righty, no?
No, righty was annoying, wasn't he?
Still is.
But if you speak to... I mean, I've got a lot of friends who are Arsenal fans, and for them, Bergkamp's the man.
Yeah, Bergkamp.
Bergkamp. I mean, he was a gorgeous footballer, but I don't see Bergkamp... I'd see Henry ahead of Bergkamp, personally. I mean, as a partnership, though, they had...
Both.
They had
that goal, though, was it against
magical,
Newcastle? His goal.
The Newcastle one, yeah.
I think that's the best goal I've ever seen.
Fluke.
No, that was definitely not a fluke.
I think that won our best goal, didn't it? In the top 10. I think that won our best goal.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you do that? He just...
I think it was an accident, wasn't it? No, of course he knew what he was doing. No question. It was magical.
That's exactly the word. It was magical. And these two, you would say Bergkamp could have scored more goals, but he was more effortless the way he played, wasn't he? And Henry, they would have got number one if it wasn't for the 99 season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
Is
agree
that
with
what's influenced both of you, Cole and Yorke?
I think so, yeah, because of what they won. Yeah. And that 99 season was phenomenal, wasn't it? And we talk about penalties. Andy Cole didn't take penalties. No.
Is he underrated, Andy Cole?
He's an unbelievable finisher.
Yeah.
I mean, he could and maybe should be in here twice because his partnership with Peter Beardsley at Newcastle.
It's funny, though, anyone's partnership with Peter Beardsley would be good. He even made me look
Well, I was lucky enough, I didn't have long with him when I went there in '96, and you could see then unbelievable.
He had that trick, that little...
I don't know no one could stop it.
I watched him do it so many times, and he did that little lift with one foot and drag with the other.
So I think it was 93, 94, Beardsley Cole at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Yeah. But again, when we go back to it, I don't understand. I get the pressure that taking penalties, but I don't understand a forward that doesn't, particularly a centre forward.
Didn't want to take them.
That didn't want to take penalties.
Yeah.
I mean, his numbers are unbelievable anyway, Andy Cole. You can imagine if he'd been on penalties.
You're surprised he didn't perhaps play a bit more and do more for England?
Who was his competition at that time?
There was a lot at that time. Be you, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You,
There's so many forwards
Sheringham.
around.
Sheringham. That's why they don't speak. Apparently, isn't it?
Michael
Because he
Owen.
didn't shake his hand.
Michael
Owen.
for England.
as well.
Michael Owen.
Yeah.
Ooh, forgot about
He's a
Owen.
brilliant finisher.
Fowler, Robbie
Fowler.
Fowler as well. It was a time of good, a bit of competition. Yeah. I was a bit luckier in my time. I was a bit luckier in my time. I didn't have quite that
What
fierce
about Owen and
competition.
Heskey? Why is there not? Where did they?
And Heskey were a great partnership. That's like England. We're talking Premier League, aren't we? Well, they played Liverpool against. Actually, Owen said he was his best partner.
He did.
Yeah, of course he did. Yeah.
Heskey, I just thought
You see, we don't do the list. Any complaints?
You got Michael Owen in there. He's a striker that's
Actually, why is Michael Owen and Heskey
Emil
should be in
Heskey.
there?
He gets
Probably ahead of one of
disrespected
the-
as
Who makes this list?
I don't know. I don't
Sack 'em.
know.
It doesn't, but we've mentioned them, so it's okay. It doesn't.
Well,
really-
it's not okay because we're going to get hammered for this.
We've passed the blame. It's all right.
Yeah. Emil Heskey, obviously a Leicester lad, went to same school as me.
Really?
Yeah, Emil, yeah. Yeah, City Leicester School.
He's a nice guy.
He's lovely.
He's a nice
He's lovely.
guy.
And he wasn't a prolific goal scorer, but he scored some great goals. And he was a brilliant kind of number two striker. Whoever played with him, as Michael said, he took so much pressure and weight off his striking part.
Could we sneak them in ahead of Phillips and Quinn or Hasselbank and Ida?
Of course we can. We do
But you've
what we
already
want.
got rid of Hasselbank.
I know, yeah.
They went about half an hour ago.
Where would you have them then? But
They'd be in there.
it'd be at least eight in the eight, wouldn't it?
I think Owen gets disrespected.
I agree.
He was a great striker, and he paved the way for a lot of strikers. The way he come in, probably for like Vardy, like just.
I feel
fearless.
for him. I feel for him in the sense that obviously he got the hamstrings quite early in his career, and then people, which is human nature, they remember the thing that's most recent. So that the latter stage of his career, when he wasn't the force that he was, that's when. But those first few years, goodness me, I thought
I was
he
on the pitch
he
for
was
his,
unbelievable.
For his debut goal, or that goal for England against Argentina.
Oh, of course you were.
Ridiculous, wasn't it? Yeah. It was.
Yes.
So when he announced himself, didn't he? Yeah. But he suffered with injuries. I know I had my time with him in Newcastle when I was manager, but in his early part of his career was
Electric.
oh yeah,
Yeah, what was it like watching that goal from that close? Did you go, wow, blimey, that was a bit good?
it was unbelievable. Yeah,
It must have been like, whoa. Because he was
Well,
18, wasn't he?
It's 18, 17 or 18. 18, I think he was. Yeah. He was never passing it. He wasn't never passing it to anyone. I don't think anyone could have kept up with him. He was that quick, and that's when he announced himself.
It's amazing that footage when you see that goal and you see him break the thing. You think he's one-on-one, and then you see there's another guy standing on the. That was such how they used to play back then when they played the old sweeper.
Yeah.
And you used to spin sometimes. I got it when I went to Barcelona. It was like, you think you've spun the player, you're going through, and suddenly there's a guy standing on the edge of the penalty box. You think, what are you doing there? Such a pain. I used to hate playing against sweeper. Where were we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just named Andy Cole and Dwight Yorke. You
that's
got them
right.
as one as well, haven't you?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, you can explain better than
Why?
me what a partnership is like, but
You
I
can
just think
explain what it's like to play against them.
when you hear partnerships, you just think of Yorke and Cole.
Yeah.
That winning the treble in '99.
They had four.
But
the
they had
four
four, though.
forwards.
They had
Yeah, I
Solskjaer
know,
and
Sheringham.
but they was the main two, wasn't they?
Were they though? Because Sheringham was unbelievable.
Yeah, Sheringham
And
was good.
He had that. He always wanted. Ferguson always said, didn't he? He wanted 4 top-class strikers. I'm not sure I'd want to play. You want in a team with 4 top-class strikers because you wouldn't play all the time. But he managed to do that brilliantly, Ferguson, didn't he? Keep them all sharp and focused.
But it was Man United, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's one of those we talk about them. I know we have our banter and whatnot, and not disliking the Reds and that. But when you're at Man United, you're just happy to be there. And with a manager like Ferguson, there's a story when I was supposed to go to Man United when I was younger as well.
What age?
There was a
You
couple
turned
of
them down as well?
I turned them down as well.
Did you?
But, yeah, I was supposed to go when I was 16. No, I was supposed to go when I was 14 before City. Yeah. 16. 18 when I made England, like when I broke into the England side.
They came for you.
Yeah.
And City obviously wanted you to go.
And then later on was just more, well, does he fancy it? The early times was proper.
Why didn't you go there then?
Because I just felt that my time coming through the youth at Man City, there was opportunities. I looked at Sean Wright Phillips as he was going to play. He was
Did you
playing
think you were going to get more of a chance to play?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The pathway was... And they had so many great players at Man United. And I wish I played under Fergie, to be honest, because I do believe we would have got the best.
You regret that, possibly? It's easy with hindsight.
No, I can't. I never regret it because I got to work under Mancini and eventually I won a Premier League. So, having a little bit of loyalty at the time, it worked. But I would have liked to play with better players earlier to see how far my career would have gone, because I think it stagnated only because of my attitude. I just thought I'd made it already, and injuries, and the players I was playing with, there wasn't top level. And I think I always raised my game when I went to somewhere like England because I was playing with superstars, and that level never dropped.
I think we were doing a game. It was me, you, and might have been Alan Hansen. Was it Aston Villa? Was there an England game at Villa Park that you played in? Was it? Holland.
Was it Spain?
Was it Spain?
No, it was at United. It was Old Trafford was Spain. I came on as a sub. I don't know if you was doing match of the day, but Alan Hansen did I played against Tevez in the derby, and Alan Hansen was comparing me to Lewis Hamilton and everything, saying he could be anything that I want. And as a
never fit in a Formula One car.
And when you start hearing these things, you can get carried away with it a little bit. I'm always true to myself. If I'm doing well, I say I do well. If I'm doing bad, but then, when Alan Hansen, who's a top pundit, you start believing your own hype a little bit.
Did you seriously do that? Did you get carried away with you?
You know what?
So to the detriment of your career, do you think?
I think I did, yeah. I think.
But young men do that.
Yeah, I was only 18.
Yeah.
I was only 18, and when he was saying things like that, I was like, wow.
Oh, I'm
the best. And then
He's got a lot to answer for, Alan Hansen, see?
He's got a lot.
He's never been a good
career. Jeez.
Mike, he's never been a good judge.
He wouldn't have with kids, he said.
So we've got our winners, Andy Cole and Dwight Yorke.
Yeah.
Congratulations to them, but it was a tough race, and there we have it.
We should apologise for all the
10.
players we've left out.
Yeah.
Have we got that list? Have we got the players we left out?
Owen and Heskey. We've done 11 this, just top 11 this week. So there you have it. If you don't agree with our choices, you can always have your say, of course. So thank you, Micah and Alan. An excellent podcast partnership developing here in the studio. Remember to have your say on any of our selections. Tell us who we've missed out. And, well, you will. There's no question about that. Please use the hashtag Match of the Day Top 10. And we'll see you next time.
This is Nas. I'm here to tell you about a new podcast about the greatest there ever was.
Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier was more than a prize fight.
A fight that stopped the world in its tracks.
It's an onslaught now, and he's down.
A fight that changed the world forever.
15 hours ago, I left the ringside of Madison Square Garden, New York, carrying with me the videotape recording of one of the most extraordinary fights of all time.
A boxing match that transcended the sport.
Muhammad Ali became a martyr in many ways. He forsaked everything to refuse to go and fight.
The fight of the century, Ali versus Frazier. Listen on the BBC Sounds app. Sounds app.